Hello, my name is Marcus. I'm the compiler of a collection of therapy quotes entitled 1001 Windmills of the Mind. A collection of quotes taken from what's often called the psychodynamic or the psychoanalytic perspective, which long ago, as I understand it, was referred to by some as philosophical medicine or narrative medicine, helping one to be their own story doctor, helping one to know themselves, to have their story, to understand their motivation, their needs, what are they repeating, what defense mechanisms are they using based on past memories that are no longer useful. Find our story. If we can find our story, that means we reorganize our past memories. We don't change the past. The metaphor is the ghost becomes laid to rest. So the basic premise here, by the way, the singer in the background is Brian Andre. Brian Andre, his song is called Nika'ui. I have no idea what it means. I think he sings most of his songs in his first language, Inakitak. Underappreciated singer. We have several of his songs on our soundtrack. The truth is, I'm having a little bit of an off day today, so I'm gonna, my delivery might not be as smooth as I would like it to be, so I'll do the best I can. But we have some good quotes to post here, so I think that's the focus, and on a scale sort of basis, the value of the quotes are strong, and that's the focus here. My delivery, it depends on my mood, I guess, on the day. And just let's begin with my disclaimer. I'm not a therapist or analyst or dream interpreter or counselor of any kind, social worker, or these kinds of things. I'm not a midwife, doula, nutritionist, scientist. I have just a BA. I'm the compiler of the quotes. But the quotes come from the shrinks mainly, as well as psychologically minded self-help authors. If you click the more link for each video, you'll get on average roughly 10 quotes. So now with 900 plus videos, and if one can find maybe one quote in each video, they can have their own 1001 Windmills of the Mind, basically. So this sort of fits in with Robert Bly's advice to read psychology every day for 10 minutes. So each video has roughly 10 minutes worth of reading, and then maybe pick out one quote a day kind of thing. And so this is the idea that we want to analyze ourselves, or be our own narrative medicine detective, psychological detective, existential detective, find our story. The more we find our story, the more it's like weaving a basket, and then the egg can appear. Psychoanalysis looks for a basket. Psychoanalysis looks for an egg, in a basket that's missing. So first we weave the basket, and then it'll contain our feelings, the potential egg and all this, right? So in today's video, it'll be on the lighter side actually. It'll be from a self-help author by the name of Tina Gilbertson. She has 2 books out. This will be mainly from her first one called Constructive Wallowing. So yeah, you know, to tell you the truth, I've only got this room here for about an hour and a half, not even. So I'm going to maybe change up my routine and maybe first lunge into the quotes today, and then I'll go out of the room and maybe see how it goes from there. So let's do that, yeah. But the basic premise is that, so my disclaimer, yeah, let's finish up my disclaimer. I'm not as just mentioned, I'm not a counselor in all this. I'm only the compiler of the quotes. And all of these 10,000 quotes that we now have in our collection, 10,000 advanced self-help quotes, ballpark approximations, theories, speculations, stepping stones for better ideas, prompts to free associate with, ideas to maybe stimulate, you know, to incubate and come back to. I keep Robert Bly's advice in mind. Sometimes when he speaks to an audience, he says to the members there, "Hello everybody, thanks for coming out here tonight. Nice to see you all, welcome." And 30% of what you're going to hear tonight is wrong. It's up to you to figure out which 30%. I can't quite do it. So he's emphasizing, because he's not a shrinker either, he's like he's a translator, mainly a translator of poets, poetry. So yeah, he's not like an official analyst or something, but he translates poems. But he has his personal opinion about interpreting myths and fairy tales. And he's like the founder of the mythopoetic movement. He's basically the leader of the men's movement, right? Helping men to find their feelings, right? They call him the grief poet kind of thing. And there's no one comparable out there. He passed away 2 years ago. Real sad loss there. Huge contribution, helping so many men to get to be aware of their inner life, that there is an inner life, first of all. And he emphasizes to men, when there's a loss, guys, you gotta admit it. This machismo act, didn't need it, who cares, go on, brush it over, forget about it, just, okay, no, you're denying your feelings. When there's a loss, it's natural to feel something when you lose something that's important to you. It's a loss, it's natural. Oh no, I'll just take a beer and forget about it and I can move on. No, okay, hold on, okay, no, you gotta say it was a loss. Something's important to you, you had dreams, you were going to do things together, you had good times together, companionship together, you had something, and it's lost. Like in a divorce or something. You got to admit the reality. That was a loss. And some of the guys were crying when he explained that, right? Because men don't know this basic thing. So I think that's how we started the men's movement, helping people just to admit that there was a loss. And loss means you accept that there's a loss. Mourning is more about remembering, not just forgetting and forget about it. Mourning is about remembering. And as you remember, the natural response to loss are the grief emotions: confusion, sadness, bargaining, anger, and so on, right? The so-called famous 5 stages, right? So I think that's how we kind of got started. In the audience, he says to the people in the audience, 30% of what you're going to hear is wrong. It's up to you to figure out which 30%. Never mind the numbers, but he was encouraging everybody to be conscious, find your story. So these 10,000 quotes are like leaves, and like a bird flying around, picking different twigs and leaves to build its nest. Each person is going to want to maybe consider 1 out of 10 quotes, let's say, and build like a little basket kind of thing. Okay, so this is the so-called idea of lending secondary process mentation to our primary process mentation, having a link between our conscious and our unconscious, and that's our true story. to have that link. In yesterday's video, I had a quote about this. That's the true story, when there's a link between the unconscious and the conscious. That's Hermes flying across with a message from the unconscious. The image is Hermes or a bird flying across, you know. So again, we live in two worlds, right? Our inner life world, a lot of it's repressed, unknown, so-called shadow self, secret self, unknown self, double self, second self. It's the one who walks with me, who's not like me, who is me. Someone's living my life and I know nothing about him. Darrow calls it the skeleton character. And when, in the King and the Ghoul fairy tale, it's the ghoul character. You create some kind of character that's mysterious, invisible, just to kind of approximate that there's unknown. One way to describe, I think the double motif is pretty good. If we were to create a character in literature and fiction, right? If you're like a science fiction or a metaphysical fantasy fiction, creating a novel, right? If one were to create a character that embodies or has or possesses all of the protagonist's disowned traits, that would be the protagonist's double self, and he would dialogue with that double self, get to know him, because it's him. So we create a character that represents our disowned side. That's the double self, or the secret self, or the second self, the shadow self, and so on. And Otto Rank has an essay called The Double, and he refers to a play called The Student of Prague. And it was exactly like that. Some guy met this other guy in this fantasy story, not knowing that that other guy represented his disowned traits. And the purpose of the protagonist was to befriend this other character. He never did. He argued with this other guy. And finally, when he hurt him, he was hurt. And then on the tombstone it said, here's a guy who never got to know himself, or something like that. And so the moral of the story was, you got to get to know yourself, your unconscious self. So the dialogue with yourself. A quick image for this is the Phantom of the Opera, right? The singer goes into the basement, okay, a symbol for the unconscious. The scary dude is not some separate external character. It's a metaphysical imagining of a character that represents her disowned pain, shame, rage, anger, and all this, right? So she befriended herself, that character. Okay, dialogued with him, got to know him, kind of thing. When she went back on stage, there's a link there, she had more of herself, because herself isn't, part of herself is there. So she accepted herself, and her feelings are there, accepted her feelings. And then when she went back on stage with more of herself, she was more embodied, she was a better singer. She made better sense because she had more of the self. Kristen Wilson says, if you're not in your body, if you're disconnected from yourself, you don't make sense. So we want to make sense, we got to get more ourself back. So yeah, Robert Light says, by the age of 5, so much of who we are, meaning our true self potential, who we're meant to be if we're loved, our vibrancy of our feelings, even the ability to have a conscious ego, that's huge, right? A lot of that gets put into this bag that we drag behind us. So the metaphor is the bag, it's behind us, that's called the shadow, we don't see it, it's dark, that's called repression. Okay, this is a metaphor for the part of the brain called the non-reporting brain. Basically the baby's memories for the first 3 years. It's in the brain, so our earliest memories are recorded. So one guy calls it amnesic memory. It's recorded, it's memory, but we're not conscious of it, hence the approximate phrase amnesic memory. But it's there in the non-reporting brain. So it's recorded there, so it's like imprinted there, but we don't know it, right? So those memories go into this bag that we drag behind us. And then we spend the rest of our lives looking in the bag and trying to reclaim and relink and re-own, repossess, reappropriate, get back what we lost. And Gilbertson makes a point actually that why a lot of our feelings go into the bag. When children have feelings, she says, kids do things when they feel things, they do things sort of simultaneously. They feel it, they do it. It's kind of blurred up very early on, right? And then if the mother says to the child, oh, don't do that, don't touch that, etc., the child gets the message, don't feel what they were feeling. The mothers don't parse out, okay, little young child, you can have the feeling, but you can't do that thing. But you can have the feeling, because the feeling is from yourself. So you can have yourself, you can have your feeling. Just don't do that thing, but have your feeling. The mothers don't parse that out. Help the child to parse it out. They just say, don't do it. The child thinks, oh, don't feel. Because the child's doing and feeling are kind of conflated and it's almost simultaneously somehow, right? So then later on, so the child's conditioning was don't feel, don't feel. But what the mother meant was just, you know, don't rip the wallpaper off the wall. You know, or don't throw down the, you know, don't throw down the towels or something, right? Or you know, don't kick the keyboard or something, or whatever. Don't swing on the chandelier. So the child's curious, he might jump on the chandelier. So another saying, don't. So it's well-meaning for safety, but from the child's perspective, he understands it as, oh, don't feel. So they're conditioned. That's basic, simple, classical conditioning. If he feels, mother punishes him. So to avoid the pain later on, he doesn't feel. So that's maybe a part of it. This is called repression. So much of our truth, I feel, our feeling self, or psychological self, I feel, therefore I amness, it gets repressed or recorded into non-reporting brain. One image is the golden ball goes down the well. So our feelings, the vibrancy of our feelings, the aliveness of our feelings, needed feelings, appropriate feelings, a wide range of feelings. Joy is the normal baseline emotion for a person in normal development. Joy, the connection to yourself, I feel, therefore I am. The serene, inexhaustible fullness of being. And joy can step aside for sadness to run the console if there's a loss. Okay. So because sadness is there, the person can admit a loss. Joy can swap seats again, and joy can run the console. A reference there is the Disney film Inside Out. Okay. In trauma, joy and sadness got zooped away. That's called repression. And then mainly at the console was the anger character, mainly, right? The stress response, first there's fear, but the fear gets quickly overwhelmed, then it goes into the anger. So if the baby's scared of his mother, he can't go anywhere. He's kind of cornered easily, almost immediately, right? So then it clicks over to the anger kind of thing. The character discussed for most of the film was about the physiological response of like distaste and dis-smell related to the survival issue. So that was mainly like the physiological area of the survival side of the amygdala when joy and sadness get zooped away. So joy and sadness represented the feeling self, the wide range of feelings, pleasure, empathy, gratitude, affection, tenderness, like the whole spectrum of the quote-unquote more human side of being human, or like our human side. You know, we live to the extent that we feel, like from that area, that joy and sadness area. If that extent that we feel area gets zooped away, joy, sadness getting zooped away, golden ball goes down the well, etc., then you're just mainly in survival mode. So you just, something useful, fine, now who cares? It's either or thinking, you know, all these simple slogans, my greed or your greed, you know, and so on. So that's kind of a topic there. In most videos, I sort of do a kind of a good 1 or 2 hour kind of build up of some of the main theories. I think today, yeah, I'm really having an off day today. I'm not going to really do the full thing. So I'm going to do a little bit of an exception in this video and just maybe focus on the quotes here. But let me just lay down the basic premise. So the baby experiences what's called attachment trauma. Attachment trauma. We know the baby has to attach. No baby can make it on their own. The baby must attach to the mother. Of course, we're assuming he's looking for a normal attachment, a safe attachment. So there's going to be an attunement. There's going to be like a reverie by the mother. The mother's there for the baby. The baby feels seen and accepted by the mother. So the basic common sense relationship takes place. That's called a secure attachment style that allows the child a level of safety to have his feelings and to feel safe enough to start to separate from the mother, psychologically separate, because in the beginning they're one, they're fused. If he feels safe, he separates. As he separates, he's going to start to get to a place where he can start to practice and experiment and get to know himself. So by the age of 3, he has a greater sense of his selfness, and that sense of self allows him a measure of safety to accept his feelings. So joy and sadness can be present. If the child's terrified of his mother, he never leaves her. It's ironic, right? The baby needs the love to feel safe to leave her. If the baby's terrified of his mother, he never leaves her. He's stuck in the fusion with her. So, oh boy, so he'll have a very, he'll develop what's called one of the stinger personality patterns I've discussed in recent videos. Like the narcissistic pattern, the bully pattern, the Iago pattern, etc. Yeah, I might be able to show you some sky trains and it's Monday, yeah, traffic's light at the moment, yeah, but in 2 hours there'll be traffic jams everywhere. Yeah, so if the child experiences an insecure attachment style, so it comes at a huge cost to himself, he's going to metaphorically freeze up inside. So the image for developmental trauma, interpersonal trauma, okay, is that his emotionality gets stuck. So in myths and fairy tales, this is often when a character is frozen. That seems to be the most common image of trauma, like emotional trauma, the freezing, something like a character's frozen, or something's petrified, like the petrified frog image in one sitcom. Or Echo in the narcissism, it turns to a statue, it turns to stone. In the Velveteen Rabbit story, the person feels unreal. In the story where the woodworker who took a block of wood and then carved out this little boy and then was praying for the boy to come to life. Okay, that was an image that a person might want to feel more alive, come more to life. So we live to the extent that we feel. In trauma, the feelings. So the idea is that the baby has needs. Mother, hello, I have these needs. Mother doesn't get it, misattuned, malattuned, confused, unavailable. Then the baby's crying as a response. So it's a very basic link there. When the needs are met, the child feels pleasant and safe and all that. If the child's needs are unmet, he's going to be scared and enraged, shamed and upset, terrified, etc. So if the mother doesn't meet the baby's needs, he's expressing all of his feelings about that. And then what if the mother doesn't get the signals of the baby's feelings? A double insult. So his needs and feelings kind of get classically conditioned into the non-reporting brain, where the neural pathways create a memory as if it's an equation in the child's understanding. Well, to have needs, mother's not going to meet them. And if I did express my needs and I express my feelings about that, well, if I do one, both or the other, like if I express my needs or express my feelings of not getting my needs met, either way, mother's going to, abandon me or reject me or punish me. So it's too terrifying, so I'll keep it repressed. So the person's going to feel flat inside, right? Like the wooden boy, the toy, right? Or the Velveteen Rabbit, feeling like a stuffed thing, right? Or a frozen, stuck, okay, stone, petrified frog image, and several others in this area. So that's the trauma. Okay? Now, in myths and fairy tales, this is described when something pure or alive or innocent is lost in the forest or lost in some unknown place. In the Pied Piper story, the children were lost in the forest, and then the lead guy said, "Who cares?" Then the mountain opened up, and the children were locked in the mountain. Like, whoa, that's a very dramatic, that's a very vivid, clear image of repression, right? Because in the beginning of the film, the feelings were sort of there, like in other words, it'd be easier to save the children if they're lost in the forest. You can hear them and they're crying, they're lonely. It's easy to find them. But when the mountain opened up and they were locked in and you couldn't even hear them, so that's a deeper repression. That's a deeper issue, right? So, in Miss Kor in the Demeter story, Persephone Kor, right? So Earth opened up, Miss Kor got pulled down. Similar idea. And anything that's like innocent, that's lost in the forest, it's a very common motif. Is like in the Atalanta story. They send a baby into the forest. So the pure innocent baby's lost in the forest. So the forest is a symbol for the unconscious. Because usually forests, the storytellers long ago would say, oh, the forest is dark, you don't see what's in there, it's not clear, you don't know what's in there, mysterious, and right? And there's a baby lost in there. That's the image for our feelings are lost. So baby lost in the forest, children or baby lost in the forest, those kinds of things, or labyrinth or something. Or now the vibrancy of our, so that's like that's the embodied side, right? But I feel, therefore I am. So the feelings part of that is that something sparkling like the gold gets down a well. Back to Robert Bly, he tells the story of Iron John. The golden ball's locked in a cage. It's in a forest and it's locked in a cage. The key's under mother's pillow. Meaning the reason a person lost their feelings is because the mother tried to meet her unconscious needs using the baby. Okay, key under mother's pillow. Under the pillow, it's dark, you don't see it. That's a symbol for the mother's unconscious. And so the key, the knowledge, the issue is there. So the mother, in other words, to get back to golden ball, we got to make the link that the reason our golden ball is locked in a cage, the key is that the mother used the baby to meet her unconscious needs. When the mother tries to use the baby to meet her needs, what happens to the child's needs? Okay, locked in a cage. Right? Mothers are there to meet the baby's needs. The mothers are not supposed to use the baby to meet their needs. Oh my God, that's called the Jocasta style of mother. Right? Now the Jocasta issue is symbolized that if the mother is using the baby, that means the baby's needs aren't getting met. That compels the baby to seek more desperately for the mother's love. The more the mother's love is unavailable, the more the child's going to cling to the mother and stick more adhesively to her. They call that adhesive identification. And then the mother's still hurting the child. The child's tighter and tighter. The fusion is too tight. And then the only way to have some kind of hope of being connected to mother is to act like her, be like her, think like her, feel like her. That's called identification with the aggressor. A very serious coping strategy for a child to engage in, because they don't know themselves anymore if they're just going to identify with the aggressor. And in a trauma like that, they go through life treating others the way their mother treated them. So they'll develop one of the stinger personality patterns discussed in recent videos. I'm not going to do the whole thing about the stinger personality patterns and the clinger personality patterns. There's a lot of material in this area. Okay, trauma before 18 months, one of the stinger personality patterns. Trauma between 18 months and 36 months, one of the clinger, pleaser, caretaker personality patterns. And then the repetition compulsion is going to be different between the two. The stinger personality patterns treat others, hurt others, to replay how the mother had hurt them. So they're replaying what had happened to them. But when they replay what had happened to them in new situations, they play the role of the shaming mother, find others to stand in for them, and replay how the mother shamed them. But they don't want to feel how the mother shamed them, so they find someone else to stand in for them, so they shame others. That's them replaying the record of how the mother shamed them. So in trauma, we repeat. With the fantasy, we can change the past. So in new situations, they stage the past and the present, and do like a theater thing. But when the stingers replay the trauma of mother shaming them, they play the role of the shaming mother who shames them, but they don't want to feel it because it's too painful, so they find someone else to represent a non-threatening substitute other to play them. They'll shame them, and that's them replaying the record of how the mother shamed them. The clingers and the pleasers do it more directly. Mother shamed them, they just coax others to shame them, or reject them, or not like them, or refuse them, or something. So they're more benign like that. They don't hurt others, but the stingers they experience more pain. Now in the stinger personality patterns, they're frozen before 18 months, meaning the egocentricity is still there. that egocentricity mainly dissipates post 18 months. But if they're traumatized before 18 months and it didn't get a chance to do so, they're stuck in that egocentricity place. So it's all about them, entitlement. So the whole narcissistic traits are in there. And we talk about some of the slogans they have, and some of the imagery that goes on in there, some of the songs they might like, and so on. So I'm not going to do that whole thing about the record as well. That's another major topic here about the record. So trauma and repetition compulsion are synonymous. So TQ 2119 by Paul B. Russell on that one. Yeah, I just did that. I just did a lengthy video yesterday in the other place. I'm feeling like this video, I'm going to skip most of the material. I try to include most of the material in most videos. I think occasionally I'm going to give myself a little break. Okay, hold on a second. Let me just... maybe let's just take a little quick short break. Song break here, let's see. Love Sick by Rick Santers. Let's pick up on that point there. I can't live with you, I can't live without you kind of idea. So first we try to analyze ourselves. If we're stuck with missing information and then we end up wallowing, then we can do the Tina Gilbertson idea to shift into our feelings and then wave the feelings the best we can. So let's say there's a case scenario where a person is transfers the unfinished business with the mother, transfers that whole dynamic with her to a person in the present who reminds them of the mother. That's called transference love. Okay, so the baby needs normal wiring, proper wiring with the mother, a relationship with the mother whereby the child lays down memories based on that relationship. So he wants a normal relationship to lay down normal wiring. If he gets a painful relationship, he's going to lay down convoluted, troublesome wiring, and he's frozen there. That's considered unfinished business. Come on, mother, when are you going to change your ways and help me change? I want proper wiring here, but she doesn't, and it's stuck there. Let's say later on, okay, so human connections lead to neural connections, right? And it's frozen there. So let's say later on somebody meets a person who reminds them of the mother, who has a personality like the mother. So that person in the present triggers up or fires up that electricity wiring in the memory system where the feelings are with the mother. So the person in the present reminds the person unconsciously of the mother. Now you're back at the place where maybe mother's going to change her ways and provide proper wiring. So the person in the present reminds you of the past. The person in the present triggers up the electricity wiring with the mother. And when the baby has an intense oneness there with the mother, there's a strong feelings there, right? Blissful union is part of it. And the great hope that mother's gonna, and great anticipation that mother's gonna provide what the baby needs, so he can have his individuation, his separation, psychological self, his golden ball, his treasure, etc. So the person in the present triggers the electricity with the mother. And then the person says to the, like the song here, to the person in the present, "Oh, you're amazing. You're the one. But now he's going to be lovesick." And then you're going to, because then enter the play of the title. "Oh, you're the one. I love you. You're perfect. Now change, please." Okay. So in the emotionality, the great spellbound, bedazzled love trance, infatuation, puppy love, passionate love, romantic love, this we're the one, you're the one, this whole great excitement, honeymoon phase, it's kind of, you get a glimpse of it in that, right? So, so the wiring is with the mother. The baby has that great excitement of the oneness, the Garden of Eden, the paradise, the Shambhala, the Shangri-La, this paradisical kind of place. The partner reminds the person of the mother, that brings that up, and you're at that place with the oneness of the mother. And now there's a great excitement. The mother's going to finally change her ways and provide the proper wiring. But the person in the present isn't the mother in the past. But emotionally, the person doesn't know that, right? So the reason they're attracted to that person is to resume the unfinished business with the mother, to get the business finished with the mother. So the partner in the present is seen as an emotional reincarnation of the mother, right? Oops, hold on a second. Sorry. Another lonely castaway on a ship that didn't want to be set out to sea. Great song, yeah, great song. That's Rick Sanchez's most recent single. Yeah, hopefully there'll be more songs from him. Yeah. Yeah, he does all the instruments himself. He plays the drums and the bass, and I guess he had to record it, layer it, and all that. So he plays all the instruments himself in that song. You know? Okay, so the partner in the present triggers up the wiring with the mother. Okay, now you have the great hope and anticipation that you're going to get the love that was needed back then. Remember, the baby doesn't understand time. There's no time. When the baby's traumatized and he's frozen, that emotion, that wiring is in a state of timelessness. So the person in the present just brings it up, kind of thing, right? So hence the great excitement. So now, okay, so the fantasy is that the partner in the present is going to be like a better, new, healthier version of the mother in the past. That the partner in the present is the mother in the past, but now a better version of her. And you're going to get the love that was needed back then, and you're going to lay down proper wiring. But the partner in the present doesn't know what you're talking about, right? And you're not seeing that person in the present. So that's not love, right? It's called transference love. You're transferring the whole thing in the past into the present. Now the partner, and notice, of course, the person's not going to have this spellbound feeling with somebody who's healthy. Or somebody with a different dysfunctional pattern. It's got to be the partner in the present has to have a similar personality or wiring like the mother. Why? Well, number one, it fires up the wiring. But number two, the person is trying to heal. So yesterday's quote was a good one. The guy said, he was conscious of it. He analyzed himself. He said, yeah, I think I was attracted to her because she reminded me of the mother. And I now realize, and of course he's frustrated with the girl in the present, he's lovesick with the girl. Could you please change? But she's doing the same thing. She's engaged in the same process. She wants him to change for her. So he says to her, you change. She says to him, no, you change. So they're struggling like this, right? But the guy said that unconsciously, the unconscious self, the puppet master, part of this innate drive for healing is to make him conscious. So when he tries to get the love from the partner that's unrequited, of course, it's for him to know the frustration that he had with the mother, that there was no way as a child he could have changed the mother. So he's still in that place of how when he was a child, mother, change your ways, don't be dysfunctional, don't use me to please you, don't make it all about you, I'm your child, I need your love, don't use me. Like this frustration that the child had with the mother laid down the problematic wiring. The partner is the same as the mother. And now here you are hoping to change the partner as if the child is trying to change the mother. So in yesterday's quote, he said, yeah, I think I now realize there's no way as a child I could have got the love that I needed back then. And I'm just transferring that whole dynamic with the person in the present, trying to get that love that I was trying to get back then as a child with my mother. So he said, he realized the whole thing. So he analyzed himself in this area, right? I said, oh my God, that's what's going on here. Oh my God, that's what's going on, right? So then he felt a little relief like that. So that's why these quotes here, like, so he read 1001 Windmills of the Mind, let's say, right? So that's why we need these quotes, because we get these little theories and sometimes they click and it works and it makes sense. Not every quote is a perfect answer, but between the 10,000 quotes, I'm confident 1,000 of them might click for a person. I'm guessing at least one out of 10 quotes can click for a person. That's why I highly recommend going to the copy page and getting the whole encyclopedia of insights. So it's for the price of one of these things. It'll show up there for a price of a copy. www.buymeacoffee.com/psychoanalysis. I think everybody over 40 can benefit from having this encyclopedia of insights. Nowhere out there can one find a collection of psychoanalysis quotes like this. So back to today's self-help exercise. First, you try to analyze yourself. So let's say in this example, the protagonist in the song here, Lovesick, and he's all upset, he's lovesick, he's distressed. But maybe he had a quote. Maybe he remembered a quote that he read. Oh, wait a minute, wasn't there a quote about transference love? Because in our collection here, we did a 5-video special run on transference love. On the coffee page, there's a reference to the videos. We did a 5 videos, 130 quotes specifically on this topic of transference love about a year ago. So let's say a person, oh wait a minute, I remember there were 5 videos, and he reviews them. Oh, I get it now. I get it now. I was meant to repeat the frustration with the mother, with the partner, so I can know what happened. So I can know the frustration with the mother because I forgot it. I'm doing it now in the present to be aware of the past. I get it now. That's why I'm trying to heal. So now you're making yourself conscious of the past. It's a huge improvement, and you're not at the mercy of repeating the thing mindlessly and being so frustrated, right? Because now if you know what's going on, oh my God, it's impossible to get the partner here to provide the kind of love that was missing back then. You know? And they're doing the same things. That's why most of these relationships often become like sour milk, rust out, burn out, etc. Right? The undertow, yeah. Blessed curse. Yeah, it's not a curse. It's not a curse. It's a wiring. It's neural pathways that was laid down. It's convoluted and painful, and it's frozen. It's a traumatic script. So long ago, we might say it's a curse. Well, no, it's a schema. It's a schema. It's an internal working model. It's a psychic representation, mapping of self in relation to the other. Part self, relation to part other. Things are fragmented. It's a mapping, right? It's a memory system in there with unconscious motivation. The unconscious motivations click in with the organism's attempt to heal. Now, the organism's attempt to heal, we can personify this as some kind of powerful, mysterious character, like the Pied Piper character or something, which is going to function like a puppet master to get us to choose the person in the present, replay, and then hence be aware of it. See, you replay it in the present to be aware of what happened in the past. Yeah. So that's the Pied Piper helping, or the ghoul character helping, or the skeleton character helping. Some mysterious, powerful character that we create to represent. They're like an emissary of unconscious processes. A fantasy emissary of unconscious processes. So this emissary character is getting us to see what happened in the past by getting us to replay it, restage it, recreate it, relive it. Okay? So we choose people for that purpose, to know what happened in the past. Then we go, oh my God, now I know what happened in the past. Now things make sense. Okay, now Morton Keeson says, take it up with the parents, take it up with the source. Don't blame the person in the present. That person's not responsible for what the mother did back then. So people don't get this. They'll start blaming the person in the present. Oh, you're a heartbreaker, you're mistreating her, how could you be so cruel, don't be cruel. And you're blaming the person in the present. Or you're a liar, you're a cheater, you're a storyteller. Actually, I was going to begin with Storyteller. Yeah, one of our songs is Storyteller by Streetheart. Kenny Shields is, as is Rick Sanders. Another one of our musical voices is Kenny Shields. Kenny Shields, when he was the lead singer for Streetheart, he's got a song called Storyteller. He said, oh yeah, you're a liar, you're such a storyteller. You promised this and you'd be there, and you lie, you're a storyteller. That's what he means, right? Similar idea here. Should we play that one? How's our timing here? Yeah. I gotta be out of here in less than an hour. Let's play Storyteller. We haven't played this song in such a long time. I hear this here. That's a great song, yeah, another great song. Pause it there, right? Okay, doing okay here? Yeah, okay. Just got this little brief little window where I can play some music around here. So yeah, so he's blaming her. Oh, you're such a liar, you're such a storyteller and all this. Well, at that point when he's angry, the thing is he wants to say, take it to the mother. Mother, you were a storyteller. You were a liar. You're mistreating her. You're a heartbreaker. You caused me to freeze up. You cause me to turn to stone emotionally. You cause me to feel unreal. Take it up to the source. No one likes people don't like this idea, you know. But the truth will upset you free. You know? The greatest hurt of all, mother failed to provide a secure attachment style. Right? So that's a loss. We didn't get a secure attachment style. But if you're blaming the person in the present, you made me turn, like in this Turn to Song Stone, in the song Turn to Stone, he was saying to the girl in the present, you caused me to freeze up inside. She should be saying, no, you're just reminded of how you felt that already back then in the nursery. You chose me to know how you felt with your mother. Yeah. Oh, hang on a sec. I don't know if you can see, there's a little Tweety bird in the tree there. Oh, you probably can't see him, huh? You know, occasionally, once in a while, there's a nice, colorful, little exotic bird. It's a little rare, you know? It's kind of amazing, you know, in the busy, crowded city, occasionally there'll be like a colorful, exotic bird fly by. It's very rare, but it's really fun to see, yeah. It's got a humorous ending. It's a fun song. Yeah, Storyteller, 1979, Street Heart. It's off their debut album. You know, when they digitized, when they moved the vinyl to CD, can you believe it? They swapped out this great song and put in another song in instead. I can't believe it. Yeah. So it's on the vinyl. Yeah. I don't think they've ever played it live. I couldn't find any live recordings of it. It's one of their best songs, and I can't believe it. and he says to the girl, yeah, you hurt me. You hurt everyone you meet. You hurt me, right? No, the girl just reminds the guy of how the mother hurt him. Of course, he had a preference that, you know, she could invent, he had a fantasy that she could invent a time machine, take the two of them back to the nursery, change the past, where the girlfriend morphs into the good mother, he becomes the baby in her arms, gets the proper wiring, the proper relationship, and from the proper relationship, the proper neural wiring, hop back in the time machine, come back into the present, morph into their respective places, she becomes her, and he becomes himself, and then he says, hey, I don't need to have this fantasy that you can change the past. I can enjoy the present. Because he got the love through the exit. It's ridiculous. There's no time machine, right? The next best thing is to be aware of the trauma. That's story medicine. The awareness is the link, the line between the conscious and the unconscious, and that's the healing. That's the story. That's the meaningful story. Making that line between the conscious and the unconscious. Yesterday's quote, that's the meaningful story, that's the healer. Story as medicine. The story as medicine idea is premised on this line, the conscious to the unconscious, right? I'll leave the final part out. Actually, you gotta hear the song in its continuity. It sort of builds up like that. Just to hear that section isolated, it just sounds like noise, right? But it does follow in. It does lead in. Yeah. Yeah, a great band, Streetheart. Yeah. We've got about maybe 5, 6. What Kind of Love Is This? That's on there. Star, another great song, Storyteller here, and a couple of others. So first, we try to analyze ourselves, right? So we're thinking about these quotes, little aha moments, therapeutic moments. Generally, we're trying to see how we are recreating in the present something that metaphorizes or symbolizes the past. If it's based on one having distinct personality pattern, they're going to know how their mother treated them when they observe how they treat others. In the clinger personality patterns, they know how they were treated by the mother by coaxing others to treat them that way. So that these are therapeutic turning points. Right? If a person read the quotes on projective identification, okay, passive aggressiveness, the splitting mechanism, Melanie Klein's theories, Margaret Mahler's theory, okay, Masterson's synthesis of developmental object relations theory, the work of Edmund Bergler, and a few other areas, then a person might go, okay, I think I know what's going on here, I get it now. So there's a little relief by that. So that's the first thing, to try to analyze ourselves, kind of thing. But let's say we don't have enough quotes yet, or we're missing a quote, or we forgot a quote, or we didn't yet get 1001 Windmills of the Mind, for example, to look up the quotes for. And now, because you're lacking the information, and you're not making the links, and you're searching to make the links, but you need a little input to help through that, so you're kind of lost, ruminating. Now you're ruminating. Now you're going over, I said this, why did I say this, should have said this, and you're constantly stuck with this. And in this ruminating, that's called wallowing in the general sense of the term, in the general common usage of the term. Now we're wallowing. He said this, why should have said this, why didn't I say this, how you should have said this. And now you're going on this kind of wallowing thing. That's because we're looking for the proper quotes and the links to get like an aha. But if we're missing that, or we can't find it on our own kind of thing, then we're just kind of wallowing around, trying to maybe at best twist the story a little bit, where the victim feels one up somehow. That's a so-called pyrrhic victory, so they feel a little better in the moment. You don't really learn anything. You can repeat it later on, you're stuck wallowing again. So Gilbertson's book says, well, the thing to do is, that's unconstructive. She calls it non-constructive wallowing. The thing to do is, if you didn't analyze yourself and you're stuck in this ruminating, sometimes called intellectualizing, searching for the right angle, let's say, searching for where you're not a victim in the story, trying to change the story, So you may feel a little better if you kind of ruminate a while, and and you might lie to yourself. Well, there's something wrong with them, so I'm better off that way. You're denying your feelings. You're trying to trick yourself. So you're stuck in this ruminating. This kind of in your head ruminating kind of thing. That's non-constructive wallowing. So first you do search for psychoanalysis. First you do try to analyze yourself. But if it gets to a place after a while where you don't have the quotes, you don't have the theories, the models, the constructs, the hypotheses. Okay, you haven't ordered 1001 Windmills of the Mind yet. Okay, you haven't read object relations theory, developmental theory, psychoanalysis. You haven't done that yet, let's say, and you're searching for a kind of thing. Now you're stuck in. Now you're wallowing in this search for this pyrrhic victory, but it's a lie. So you're searching again. Now you're wallowing. Okay, that kind of thing. That's non-constructive. At that point, it's probably there's a limit, right? Then now it turns into non-constructive. In the beginning, you're searching for understanding, but at a certain point, you're missing the information. So now you're like wallowing. Where is the information? Where is the quote? That's why I think That's what I'm saying. That's why I think everyone over 40 needs to have, or will benefit, I believe, in my humble opinion, will benefit from having these 10,000 quotes. Because if you are triggered and you want to know what's going on, just start reading. Just start randomly reading the quotes. In a short time, you'll get like one aha moment, and that can be a huge relief. You know. Okay, so let's say you're stuck in the wallowing area, the negative wallowing. She calls it non-constructive wallowing, meaning it's in your head, right? As a defense against feeling. Then at that point, her book says, well, drop into your feelings now. Don't judge how you're feeling as right or wrong. Never mind that idea. All feelings, in order to let go of a feeling, you must first give it its due. The feeling has to let go of you first. The conclusion was here, this one here. For all intents and purposes, your feelings are never wrong. So if you are having these feelings that you're denying, keep that thought in mind. Even though you're unhappy to replay something, and it doesn't make sense to replay something, it doesn't make sense to replay the past and the present. But if you're not aware that you're replaying the past and the present to know the past, and then you think you got these feelings, and that belongs to the past, well, but those feelings are from the past. But you're feeling it in the here and now because there's trauma. That's real. So don't get into this judgmental area. For all intents and purposes, your feelings are never wrong. At the core of it all, shall I compare thee to an onion? Whatever you're feeling, that's not wrong. So that feeling, I feel, therefore I am, that's connecting to yourself. If you accept your feelings, you're accepting a part of yourself. Now you're moving towards wholeness. If you accept a part of yourself. To accept a part of yourself, you got to accept the feelings that are linked to the self. Right? Once your feelings are activated, whether you think they're right or wrong, it's pointless to try not to have them. Embrace your feelings, whatever they are, and get on your own side. For all intents and purposes, your feelings are never wrong. Okay, let's continue. The reason you have feelings about the past today is that you didn't have the room, the time, or the support to fully experience those feelings back then. Because usually the mother says, don't do that, and then there was no processing. The mother didn't say, yes, have your feeling, yes, have your identity, but this behavior, please don't do, right? So keep your feeling, keep your identity, but scrap that activity, or swap the activity. Or here's some crayons, draw something, or here's some toys or something, or here's a story, or here's a game, or whatever it is, right? But don't swing on a chandelier. Read some Curious George. Here's a Curious George coloring book. Let Curious George express it. In a harmless cartoon or something, huh? But keep your feelings and your identity. Huh? But the mothers don't do that. The mothers just say, don't do that. Child thinks, don't feel. So the child didn't have support, room, time, understanding to have his feelings. Instead, you had to tuck that emotion away along with the vulnerable part of yourself it was attached to. There's no such thing as a statute of limitation on feelings. It's timeless. The baby's traumatized in a state of timelessness. Infinite, timeless. So decades later, you're having a feeling from the nursery. There's no time. Those feelings back then are in a state of no time. There was no container, there was no mentalizing, there was no soothing, and you're frozen there. Something in the present triggered that. So those feelings are real. Feeling pain now means there was a hurt back then. But back then you didn't have the support to process your feelings. The mother didn't soothe them, and the child didn't lay down a cluster of memories in the brain called the soothing interject, the holding interject, the internalized good object constancy. So again, the relationship with the mother lays down the wiring human connections lead to neural connections. In the interpersonal relationship between the baby and the mother soothes the child, sees the child, hears, feels, has reverie, presence for the child. Then he has these things for himself. If the mother soothes the child, the memories cluster up. Okay. Then the child has that structure in the brain called the soothing interject, the holding interject. Then he can soothe himself, kind of thing. But if that soothing interject's missing, you see, then later on, if that's triggered up, there's no memories of mother soothing him. Now he's all upset in the present. The pain from the past that's making itself known today needs and deserves your attention today. Oh, that rhymes, doesn't it? The pain from the past that's making itself known today, oh, it needs and deserves your attention today. Oh, no, okay. If you're serious about not being negative, don't negate your feelings. Okay, just a little wordplay there, right? See, on yesterday's video, quote was about somebody's being negative all the time. That's a defense against feelings of the past. So you're negative about today, you're negative about tomorrow. Well, that's just a strategy to not feel the pain from the past. Your feelings are a reflection of yourself. And if you push a feeling away, you're pushing part of yourself away. I feel, therefore I am. Reject a feeling, you reject yourself. So, acknowledging and embracing your feelings is a way of really being there for yourself. To be on your own side. Get on your own side. Be there for yourself. By the way, this little quote here, I took it from a short interview she gave on a news program called, I think it's Bay Sunday, Sunday Bay, something like that. It's on YouTube. I think it's Bay Sunday or Sunday Bay, and plus her name on a news clip, 5-minute news clip. At the end of that news clip, she said this. So I took it out, put it in here. That's a good one, right? There's a good example of 1001, Windmills of the Mind. An obscure little, rare little interview. Barely any views. I don't know why. She's a very popular author. She's one of the most successful self-help authors out there, right? And not too many TV interviews, actually, oddly enough. But that little obscure interview, she said that. Oh, it's a great little line, right? Your feelings are a reflection of yourself, the self feelings. Animation. Okay. In the White Bear King Valamon, this image can be seen with the polar bear in the distance, rolling on the ground in the snow, relaxing, sort of juggling or playing happily with the golden reef. The princess on the field is drawn to this image, approaches gently, says to the polar bear, "Hey, polar bear, that golden reef you have there, I really like that. Come on, hand it over." Polar bear says, "Well, we're a package deal." Story goes from there, right? White Bear King Valamon. So the polar bear is a metaphor for the embodiment, the self, herself, her embodiment. If she's embodied, then the golden ball sparkles. The feelings sparkle. Okay? The feelings, the aliveness of our feelings. The image is like the sun, radiant, it shines. If we're in our body, there's like an animation from it. It shines, kind of thing, right? So we're trying to get back our feelings. That's the whole ball game. That's the whole issue. We lost that vibrancy of our feelings. It's got squelched, and we feel flat, numb, petrified, turned to stone, feeling unreal, etc. Alex Daimie, etc. And we spend the rest of our lives trying to get back our feelings. Joseph Campbell calls this the hero's journey. Chinnan calls it the second journey in midlife. Okay, next one here. So wallow in the emotion, not what happened. Okay, so if the self-analysis doesn't work, if you can't quite do a self-analysis, so to speak, where you get like an interpretation and you calm down because you understand what's going on, you feel some relief. The understanding makes you feel safe. The knowledge, understanding, I get it, aha, oh, you feel safe because now you know what's going on. The consciousness makes you feel safe and you calm down, right? But if you didn't get that interpretation, if you couldn't self-analyze yourself, right? In other words, 1001 Windows of the Mind is to help one self-analyze themselves. It's night vision. Okay, to give one night vision. That's Jeanette Paris's phrase. Or she got it from someone else, I'm not sure. So if that self-analysis part that segment was missing, then stop wallowing in the ruminating and the intellectualization, and drop down to the feeling and wallow there. That's constructive wallowing, the title of the book. So that phrase, constructive wallowing, means ride the wave of your feelings. That's constructive, allowing. She means feeling. The phrase constructive wallowing means just drop into your feelings and see if you can let it wave through, kind of thing. But rather than in the story that you don't understand. Now this is an issue when you drop down. So the thrust of her book is the truth acronym to help a person get in touch with their feelings. She does this 5-step little self-help exercise called truth. Don't push yourself. If it works, fine. If it doesn't, don't criticize yourself for it. So let's go back to the song "Love Sick." Right? So unrequited love. So he's all upset. He's lovesick. He feels the undertow. He's losing himself, being all upset and scared. And what's happening? Who is he? Okay. So pause there. Right? Do the truth. So T. So let's borrow the song there. The guy might say, okay, she didn't invent a time machine and change my past. Okay, how does he feel? Upset, right? Well, he's not going to say that, right? The T will be, so tell yourself the situation, right? So the truth acronym, TRUTH, the first T means tell yourself the situation, just in a simple, objective, neutral, simple situation, right? Just observation. So the observation is, she didn't do the thing that he had hoped that he wanted, right? So he wanted her to return his call, let's say. So she didn't return my call, all right? Feeling, R, the second one, R, realize the feeling. He's triggered, he's all upset, right? Okay, upset. U, the criticism. Well, she should, I shouldn't be so upset over this little thing. Now he's criticizing himself, right? Okay, the second T. Try to give yourself a little empathy. So he's been looking for love all of his life. He thought he found the one. It turns out she's not the one. A huge disappointment. No wonder he's upset. That makes sense, to be upset. So just try to normalize and accept that you have the feeling. That's called empathy, right? And then if you can do that and free up the inner critic by naming the inner critic, like just notice the inner critic, and then give yourself some self-acceptance for it, maybe that might in some cases, sometimes, not always, and sometimes, then you have access to the feeling. Then if it works and you have access to the feeling, okay, then be like a surfer. Ride the wave of the feeling. She says, I don't know where she gets this from, she says the average wave of a feeling takes 90 seconds. She says on average, a feeling can wave through the person's body in 90 seconds, she says on average. I don't know where she gets that from, but it can vary. It can be a quick wave, it can be a longer wave. But then imagine, accept the feeling like a hill, like on a curve. It's going to rise up, it'll peak, it'll go down. Like a little wave like that, right? Like a wave, yeah, like a hill image, right? On a graph, a little curve. Just draw a little hill on a piece of paper. It goes up, it goes down. So the wave is like a wave. It's going to, just see if you can stay with the feeling. It's going to go up a little bit and then it'll start to dissipate like that. And this whole thing can take, on average, takes under 2 minutes, she said. Now, if it doesn't happen, then you can maybe you can enter in some of our other self-help exercises. What's the hardest thing about? Well, then maybe you didn't name the feeling. So now you recycle it. So go back to the T. Is that the situation? Yeah, that's the problem. She didn't return my call. Okay, R, realize the feeling. Be more specific. Maybe you mislabeled it. Well, I felt excited, disappointed. What would a person feel if the girl didn't return his call? Enraged? Yeah, maybe he felt enraged. Excited, disappointed, confused. Confused, yeah, maybe confused would be in there. Confused. Maybe confused is the true feeling, right? Confused. See, here's emotional illiteracy. Gilbertson says, we got a huge, Jeanette Paris says, we have emotional hyperthermia. Here's the freezing one again. She says here, humans, Homo traumicus, we have emotional illiteracy. We don't even know how to name our feelings. We're having such a hard time naming our feelings. If someone said they felt confused, some people might say, that's not a feeling. Why not? Why can't that be a feeling? I'm with Gilbertson. I think those are kinds. I think they're close enough to say someone's confused. Well, if you're confused, you don't know, you're uncertain, what do you feel underneath that? Okay, well, maybe there's a resistance to feeling that. So it's close enough, I think, right? Okay, then the person feels confused, let's say. Okay, the criticism. He shouldn't be confused. We're all adults here. Why is he confused? Okay, the second T. Give yourself some empathy here. Well, you had some trust. You thought you had a rapport. She didn't call back. You thought you were had a rapport there. So that would make sense to feel confused. Okay, there you go. There's empathy. That would make sense to feel you confused. So she does the no wonder thing. No wonder. By the way, at this point here, in the second T in her acronym, we can borrow Lester Havens' idea here. If that doesn't work with the empathy part, you can try his version of empathy. You can say to yourself, well, heaven knows I want her. So heaven knows. I haven't done this in such a long time. Hold on a sec. So the heaven knows, 3 parts. Heaven knows. Heaven knows I wanted her to call me back. Oh, jeepers. What's the second one? Heaven knows I wanted her to call me back. Okay, let's just skip it. Let me abbreviate it then. So heaven knows I wanted her to call me back. She didn't call me back. Well, then it makes sense I feel confused. So no wonder I'm confused. Heaven knows I wanted her to call me back. Well, no wonder I'm confused. That approximates it, right? So the second T she calls, try to give yourself some empathy, understanding. She means it like that, right? Just to normalize that it's okay to have the feeling. Right? So if you get to that point, then the H, the last one is, okay, if you got there and you have the feeling now, well then have it. Just let it ride out. Ride the wave. Ride the wave. Right? And that's like a spiritual practice. That's like a practice. You do it again and again kind of thing. And get into the habit of expanding the bandwidth of your ability to accept your feelings. Make it a habit. But don't criticize yourself for this point, right? If you're criticizing the point, then you got to recycle it. Okay, T, situation, I just criticized myself. R, realize the feeling. Yeah, I'm angry. Right? Why didn't it work, let's say? The criticism should have worked. Usually there's a should there. Okay, second T, give yourself some empathy. Well, maybe I didn't understand the exercise. Or maybe it's, or maybe there's more to it or something, huh? Maybe it's okay to put it aside and revisit it another time. Maybe I need to read the book again. Okay, fair enough. So no wonder maybe it didn't work. And then H, have the feeling. Okay, I can accept that kind of thing. Another self-help exercise is, what's the hardest thing about? And fill in the blank, huh? What's the hardest thing about? Another self-help exercise is 2360 by Susan Campbell, called the Unilateral Repair Statement. Another one is the Marshall Rosenberg one called OFNR, O-F-N-R, Observation, Feelings and Needs from the Past, Request in the Present. Observations in the present trigger the past. In the past, an old fear came up. Name that old fear. Okay, that old fear. As a child, the child had a need. Name those needs. Connection, safety, learning, play, spontaneity, trust. Those who are met back then felt scared, upset, terrified. Okay, and then you share that in the present with the person. Okay. Usually you want empathy. How are you okay? How are you hearing what I'm saying? I want to make sure that I'm not criticizing you by saying this. I'm trying to make an I statement, make it about me. So you're hoping for a caring witness. Was the person able to just be present to your I statement? Because the other person might be triggered, right? So then you got to go back and forth like this. So what I'm referring to in this moment here, that's a little confused, I think, is our thread on self-help exercises. We have a whole thread on self-help exercises, right? And this is the most recent one here, this truth one, as an acronym. So tell yourself, so whatever's going on, and you want to maybe clear it a little bit. Okay, the time here. Tell yourself the situation. Yeah, 5:40. Yeah, I've only got a few minutes left. Feeling. Feeling a little annoyed, yeah, because I got to pack up and move and find another place. Okay, criticism. Yeah, why didn't I get here earlier to start this earlier? Second T. Give yourself some empathy. Well, no wonder, because it takes me time to get here and all this, and I wasn't in the best of moods and all this, so I delayed and all this. Well, that makes sense then if you're caught in a situation. Aren't you accepting the ambivalence that you're going to do an imperfect video, but on a scaled issue? You got the quotes out. Are you forgetting this? Yeah, it's true, I'm forgetting this. Okay, but you're tired of moving, right? Yeah, I'm tired of moving all the time. Okay, so go back around. So the T, well, I'm tired of moving. Okay, R, feeling. A little exhausted, I guess. Okay, U, criticism. Why do I have to move? Okay, there's a criticism. That's the inner critic one. Uncover the inner critic one. Okay. And the second T is the, what is it again? Give yourself some empathy. Try to give yourself some empathy. Well, you're trying your best, right? Yeah. Okay, you're doing your best here. Okay, and have the feeling about being exhausted. Okay, then you can accept the feeling of being exhausted. Yeah, I thought that worked a little bit. So now I can accept the feeling that I'm exhausted at the idea of needing to move. And then maybe it just waves like in a second, like maybe even, like the wave can vary between the time of a sneeze to 20 minutes. So the wave feeling varies between a fraction of a second to 20 minutes, she said. Oh, in reference to the Lovesick song, here it is here. We tend to be attracted to partners who help us recreate the same troublesome dynamics we were hurt by earlier in life. We tend to be attracted to partners who help us recreate the same script, the same troublesome dynamics we were hurt by earlier in life. The repetition compulsion, we are compelled to repeat the painful dynamics of early formative relationships. The trouble is, we usually try to fix the other person. So there's the I love you, you're perfect now, change. You're trying to change the other person, meaning you're trying to change the mother back then. The baby wanted to change the mother. Come on, mother, change. Be a loving mother. Baby's trying to change the mother, correct the mother, heal the mother, cure the mother. Baby wants the mother to change her ways. You transfer that to the partner. So you replay it with the partner. Now you're trying to change the partner the way the baby wanted to change the mother, save the mother, so that she could be changed. Emotional literacy. The ability to know and name emotions and to distinguish yours from other people's. Tolerating emotions instead of acting them out. Making I statements instead of name calling. For example, when this happened, I felt hurt. Instead of you're such and such. So the 101 of making an I statement is, instead of saying you are such and such, just to say, no, when that happened or when you said that, I felt such and such. Making an I statement. That's part of emotional literacy. You know, it's just as well that I need to leave at this time because it gets dark here and there's not much lighting around here at night. Here's a good one. The more you distract yourself from emotional pain, the longer you're stuck in it. So there's the irony of it all, right? You have a feeling, get away from it. It's not gone, it's still there, you're stuck in it. If you can wallow in it, that's called constructive wallowing, then you're free from it. Right? Now this exercise here, it's similar to the Marshall Rosenberg thing. It's just a life raft to get you through when you're triggered. It doesn't change the past. The psychoanalysis can change the past. So that's what we're saying here. First, she doesn't talk about this here too much, but first you want to analyze yourself. Then if that doesn't work, okay, then go to the life raft. Right? So her stuff is the life raft. The self-help, all the self-help stuff is the life raft. 90% of the course is the analysis. Okay? Sometimes we need the life raft to get us through the patch. Okay? But then we go back to the analysis. So we don't just want to feel better for the moment, we want to heal, we want to get better. So the famous question is, do you want to get better or just want to feel better? To feel better is read a self-help book. You want to get better, read psychoanalysis, right? So in our collection here we cover both because sometimes we flip back and forth kind of thing. But ironically, she does a bit of a bridge because some of her quotes have a psychoanalytic perspective to it. For example here, this one about complaining. Her complaining is an unconscious attempt to elicit in others that which she desperately needs but will not provide for herself. Her secret fear is that she shouldn't want anything more for herself. So there's a little bit of psychoanalysis, right? So here's a woman who's complaining. The reason she's complaining is because she's afraid to have something good in her life. She's afraid to have something better in her life. So she's complaining. Shall I compare thee to an onion? If you layer it down to the unconscious motivation, what's causing the complaining is the source point is that she believes that she's not allowed to ask for anything better in her life. And that's why she's complaining. So that's the psychoanalysis. So somebody who's complaining and they're wallowing in their complaining, then they read the quote, like today's quote, oh, is that what that's about? Then they may calm down from that. So this quote here is more in the psychoanalysis area, this one here, the complaining one. And another one in this category as well, about a woman who's she's snappish, like quickly, very irritable and quick to get angry. I think that snappish behavior, I think of the client's snappish behavior as having a wall up, not against compassion per se, but against one's own need for it. So she's irritable, you know, because there's a wall in her psychic structure. The wall is between parts of herself, her identity and her need. You see? So there's a part of her that's her true self, that's repressed, and the need that she needs. There's a gap there. She's afraid to know her need. That gap between herself and her need, there's like a wall there. You see? Such internal walls always create a wall between self and others. So self and others, there's a wall there between self and others because there's a wall within. The wall within is the gap between herself and the fear of her needs. Okay, baby had needs, mother said no, etc. Now there's a fear of the needs. There's a split there between them and the needs. Because to know the needs triggers that the pain around originally, once upon a time, long ago, having needs. Simple, basic, classical conditioning. So maybe that's another psychoanalytic idea. A person is snappish, let's say. Well, they read this quote, they go, oh my God, that's because my needs weren't met as a child. Okay, that makes sense. So you can calm down a little bit by that. Right? You don't have to do the truth acronym. See, so some of Gilbertson's quotes have this analytic perspective, which I like, right? Is that it? I think just the two of them, yeah. So just the two of them, I think, are like that, yeah. Well, here's the negativity one. Bad memories can masquerade as negativity. See, if a person's cynical and all that, and they're negative all the time, that's a mask for the painful memories in the past. And a lot of the negativity is to pursue the infantile grandiosity, the infantile megalomania, right? Because negativity, they're one up, others are one down, right? It may feel safer to be negative about the present or the future than to face the truth about a painful past, a shield against past injuries. Your purpose springs forth from your uniqueness. Everyone's unique, nature's greatest miracle. Every leaf on that stem, on that branch is unique. Everything in nature is unique. All their staff has arrived here. Okay, it's just as well, eh? I wonder if I can finish the quotes and pack it up. Yeah, let's quickly zip through the quotes and I'll move outside. Okay, your purpose springs forth from your uniqueness. Everybody's unique. But Sanford makes it clear, for humans to know their uniqueness, they need their consciousness of their uniqueness. Then the uniqueness can be expressed because they're conscious of their uniqueness. If we lose our ego, our conscious ego, we don't know our uniqueness. So we need our consciousness through which our uniqueness can be expressed. So-called ego-self link there. But if that ego is damaged, okay, in trauma, that ego, the conscious ego gets submerged, squelched, the frazzled scarecrow character in Wizard of Oz. So then we don't know our uniqueness. Plus, if the mother didn't accept the mystery of the child and say, look, my child is unique, nature's greatest miracle, then the child recognizes his uniqueness if the mother saw the uniqueness. Virginia's poem, I Am Me, Gibran's poem, Life's Longing for Itself, okay, Sanford's one, the Great Spirit wants everything unique. For the child to accept that uniqueness, he needs enough love to develop his ego, to get in touch with his uniqueness. Okay, your purpose springs from your uniqueness. So if you express your uniqueness, your real self, your true self, that's pleasure, that's joy, and that's an act of love. Everything's love or a cry for love. Okay, just a quick little one here. If you're having a feeling, ask yourself this question. Who is the person experiencing this feeling of? Okay, so if I'm feeling tense, ask myself, who is the person? Who's feeling this tense? Who's feeling tense? Oh, I'm feeling tense. Oh, okay. You might calm down in that moment a little bit. It doesn't change and it doesn't correct anything, but it's just a band-aid. Right? It's just a little mini life raft for the moment. Who is the person? So let's say your friend says, yeah, I feel agitated. Who is the person experiencing this feeling of anxiety, agitation? Well, I am. Oh, you might calm down. Embrace your emotions, whatever they are. It's the same as embracing yourself. Emotions are a reliable reflection of you. How you feel in any given moment is the road that connects you with your authentic self. I feel, therefore I am. Golden Reef and the polar bear. In order to let go of a feeling, you must first give it its due. The feeling, I like this one, the feeling has to let go of you first. The feeling lets go of you. Give the feeling its due. Okay, feeling, you're the boss. You do your wave. and the feeling does the wave, okay, then it lets go of you, then you're relaxed after that. What do I got here? Just 5 minutes. Well, it doesn't have to be perfectly at 6, but yeah, let me pack up in 5 minutes. Okay, this idea of when there's a breakup and your friends are well-meaning and all this. Friends and family may tell you, oh, he was such a fill in the blank. Oh, you're better off without him or her, etc. They are trying to help you feel better by changing your perspective on your former partner. But they aren't experiencing the loss the way you are. What is lost is the connection you two shared, the commitment you two had to each other, and the companionship provided by that relationship. So give some validations. Yeah, that was a loss. You guys did things together. Yeah, you guys did a lot of things together. Yeah, you were together. And it's just valid, and yes, that is a loss. Yeah, you were together. That is a loss. Rather than just saying, "Oh, you're better off without," instead of quickly brushing it off, get over it, kind of that annoying song, "Get Over It," right? First, validate their feeling. But the friends are well-meaning. They're trying to give you narcissistic fiery victory. Well, you're one up. He was no good. You're better. So it doesn't work. You're invalidating the feelings. You're invalidating that they had a commitment together, that they shared things together, they had a connection together, so on. We are all adult children of traumatic parents. We're homo traumicus, so more on that another time. Okay, this one here, true self-pity is not about playing the victim. Okay, this confusing phrase about self-pity. True self-pity, like genuine self-pity, is not about playing the victim. It's about the hard fact, the cold hard fact that sometimes a child is really a victim of the abusive mother. So many children are genuinely victims of the abusive mother. The truth can set you free. Somebody said, "Hey, well, what about all those self-pitying types who go on and on about what a bum deal they've gotten?" Those so-called self-pitying types are only playing at self-pity. They talk a good game. So that kind of self-pitying, where you're ruminating, again, now we're back in the ruminating, the story. Okay. Genuine self-pity is you accept that you were hurt. Now that's constructive wallowing versus unconstructive wallowing. So the ruminating in the head, not being able to find narrative medicine and stuck searching for narrative medicine, but you're missing some important pieces of the puzzle. So then accept the pain of being hurt, and that's constructive wallowing versus unconstructive wallowing. That's the main thing here. In boredom, I feel alienated from myself. Nothing sounds good to me because it's like there's no me there. Reconnect with yourself. So I wonder if somebody's watching this, if they feel bored. Maybe they're sensing that I'm not fully connected with myself. I don't feel really fully connected with myself, generally speaking, to tell you the truth. So I imagine that's why there aren't many views. And likewise, if I hear a speaker, I might say, "Oh, I'm bored," because they're not connected with their true self. They're wallowing in a non-constructive way. Maybe. This one about the boredom, I'll have to follow up on later. Okay, I think that's it. Yeah, I think we did it. Okay, that's been TQ 2709. Not bad, right? 2709. Roughly 20 quotes here from Tina Gilbertson, mainly from her book Constructive Wallowing, and some of them from her blog. If you go to her website and go to the media part and scroll down to the audio, those interviews are excellent. She gave some excellent interviews. Her answers are clear, they're crisp, they're right on target. She doesn't wallow in her answers. She gives straight, clear, concise answers. Excellent. So some of the quotes here today are from those audio interviews. So if you want to hear the whole interview, yeah, you go to her website, click on the media thing, and the audio, plus on the blog part. Yeah, so both. Sorry. These quotes are from the blog entries, most of her blog. So some of these quotes are from her blog, and some of these quotes are from her book, Constructive Wallowing. One is from the TV interview mentioned earlier. Okay, I guess I should pack up. Yeah, okay. Okay, fast forward this video a good 5 minutes. I need to pack all this up and close the curtains and all this. Yeah, I need a good 5 minutes, so maybe I'll just play a background song. Oh no, I need to move the laptop. No, forget about the song. Okay, just fast forward this 5 minutes and I'll see you in 5 minutes, yeah? Okay. I'll close up the laptop here, all right. We'll continue in 5 minutes, yeah. So her website, yeah, tinagilbertson.com.